If you ever felt tired, overworked, or unsure about how to actually sell your craft and want to turn your passion into a real, organized, and profitable business, you are in the right place. Hi, I'm Cristina, creative business productivity coach and someone who truly understands what it feels like to juggle creativity, clients, and real life. This podcast is here to help you grow from feeling overwhelmed and doing everything on your own to building a creative business that feels organized, sustainable, and actually works for you. Because you're not meant to figure this out alone. Let's get into today's episode and welcome to the Art K Coach podcast. Hey, my sweet friend. If you enjoyed this episode, the best way to give back is to follow the podcast, download the episode, and leave a review. It helps more cake artists like you find this space. Share it on social media, tag me at the Arcade Coach, and come say hi. I would love to connect with you. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, or check the links in the show notes to stay connected. Well, hello, my creative friends, and welcome to another episode of the Arcade Coach podcast. Cristina here, super happy to have you all back. Another Tuesday morning here from Lisbon, Portugal. I have a question for you. Have you ever reached the end of the day feeling exhausted, but somehow the most important things still didn't get done? It happens more often than you think. And believe me, you're not lazy. You're probably just confusing planning without prioritizing. And I can tell you for a fact that they're not the same thing. So today we're going to be tackling the difference between planning and prioritizing, but at the same time, how one depends on the other to actually get results. You know me, I love planning, I love strategizing, I love an agenda planner, a diary, anything that I can write on. And we often think this is not enough. I mean, sometimes I do. We sometimes think that we need a better planner, a better app, a prettier to do list. But that actually is not the truth. Most creatives don't have a planning problem. What they have is a decision making problem. And that is where prioritizing comes into play. Let me explain this. Planning is the same as writing down everything you need to do. Now, prioritizing is actually deciding what matters to do today. And that is where the time management method that I use, I'm starting to call it the calm productivity because I don't want it to be a stress because I know how overwhelmed and how stressed it can be for you as a creative who has all these beautiful ideas in mind to actually try to organize your day and get things done. So there's a big difference between planning and prioritizing. Today, I'm going to share with you why creative struggles to prioritize and maybe share a few questions that you can ask yourself in order to make the right decision at the time of prioritizing. I know you, my creative, dear, and sweet friend in the other side of this microphone, because I have been you for a long time, for all my life. I've always been inclined towards the creative mind. I have to say that even I didn't consider different careers in my life because they didn't involve creativity. Thinking about working in a place where I just have to do the same thing every single day, like show up, mark your card, and just leave at the end of the day. It's kind of scary for me. I need to have my creative juice is working all day. And that is one of the things that I love actually about strategizing because it requires a lot of creativity. As creative minds, we get excited by new ideas. We have 10 projects at once. I have to be honest with you guys this week. And now that I'm being working with other creatives and I've been seeing all the beautiful things they do, suddenly I want to start a crochet business, do stitching, paint, maybe redecorate my whole house. Like I want to do it all. So we do have a lot of ideas and thousands of projects in our head at the same time. What happens is we struggle to finish them all because we want to do them now. You want to see results, and say you get bored, and then you leave it at the middle of the project, and then you're like, oh, I need to, create content. Oh, I need to take care of my membership. Oh, I need to work. So we jump from one thing to the other. And also, as creative minds, we want everything. We want to do everything. We want to be involved in every single step. Of course, this creates a lot of overwhelm. We don't usually lack ideas. What we lack is filters on how to decide what to dedicate our energy to. So, these next questions that I'm going to share with you are questions that I ask myself when it's time to make a decision. Instead of a huge to do list, I want you to ask yourself the following: what absolutely needs to happen today? Not what would be nice for me to work on today, but needs to happen today. As if you have heard some episodes of the podcast before, but if you haven't, I always recommend to have a dumping list, which is not a to do list, but maybe a notebook or a notepad near you where you write down all of those things that come into your head so you don't get overwhelmed overthinking about it, or maybe losing the ideas. Because let's be honest, I'm 50, perimenopausal, so sometimes I have brilliant ideas and then I totally forget what I was thinking about. So I like to write them down. I have my dumping list next to me, but from that dumping list, that's where I create my planning and my prioritizing. It's not the same as a to do list, but it's a method that has worked for me. So, first question, let me just recap. What absolutely needs to happen today? Not that I would love to do, that would be nice to work on, but needs to happen today. Number two, what will move my business forward? Forward. Not just keep it running, but actually moving forward. I'm going to give you a few examples like sending a proposal, recording the podcast, contacting a client, things that actually are going to create results, tangible results for my business. Number three, what can wait? And you have no idea the power of this question because for many reasons that I'm not going to go deeper on today, maybe for another episode, we grow to believe that we need to do it all. I know most of you in the other side are women, and we as women believe that we need to do it all, please everyone. Resting is bad. Nothing can wait. Every single minute of our time needs to be filled with some activity, right? And if we rest and if we keep it calm, we feel bad about it. But that needs to change. In order to make this kind of structure of time management work, one of the key questions you need to ask yourself is, what can wait? What can I not work on? What are the things that I can leave, not behind, sometimes behind, but that I can leave aside so I can make room to work on what actually matters? So, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, this is a question that nobody dares to ask because everything feels urgent, and it isn't. I said it before, the beauty of working on your own, of having your own business from home, as I talk to you guys, but maybe you have a studio or maybe you have a bakery, but having your own business, being your own boss, being the business owner. Most of us decided to do that because we were not comfortable or ready to work for somebody else, or we did it and we didn't like it. We wanted to be our own boss. We wanted to be in charge of our own time. So why are we keep behaving like if we were working in an office? Because of course, in an office, in a corporate world, maybe you cannot tell your boss, what can wait today? Maybe, I don't know. That will depend on the business model and on the company. But you can do that. You have that luxury. So instead of stressing yourself and trying to bring the hustle mentality into your home based creative business, why don't you own the fact that you actually have a choice? And one of the most powerful choices is this question: what can wait. Don't go anywhere because in the next part, I'm going to be sharing the biggest mistakes home business owners make when it comes to prioritizing and time management. We love Saracino and we love its digital magazine. We love Pastry, a free quarterly digital magazine bursting with incredible and easy to follow, unique tutorials created by very talented artists from around the globe. Interesting interviews and blogs. You can also win products worth £50 and much more. It includes cake tutorials, product information, cake events, cake collaborations, and more. Receive this free digital magazine by clicking in the link in the show notes of this episode. Thank you, Sarashino, for sponsoring today's episode of the Art Cake Coach podcast. Some of the biggest mistakes home business owners, creative business owners working from home make is keeping themselves busy instead of productive. I'm going to give you some examples. Reorganizing supplies, checking Instagram, answering emails, instead of maybe finishing an order or planning marketing or following up on clients. Having an activity or having something to do all the time doesn't actually mean progress. It means you're keeping yourself busy. And this is one of the mindsets that I find my clients the hardest to remove from their head, and reframe them, because I actually what I when I work with my clients, what I like is to reframe those thoughts. And reframing the thought of I have to keep myself busy all the time is to leave room, not, I'm not going to say only to rest, because we don't want to fall into just being lazy and procrastinating, but room to dedicate your time to the things that actually matter. If I go back to the point that I was making before, it's not a conscious mistake. It's a mistake that comes from the fact that we were taught to think like this. We were taught that resting is not good, is not productive. We were taught that we have to hustle in order to make money, that we need to work by hours instead of working strategically to make the money that we want to make, to make profit. So all of these things go very deep into the way we were brought up. We learn the value of this reward system since we were in school. You're not supposed to rest. You're not supposed to rethink. You're not supposed to do things differently. You have to follow a method, and that is the way it's done. We were brought up in our own houses to think that always being busy was actually being productive, and it's not. And when we see ourselves as the owners of our business and the owners of our time, it's very easy to fall into that trap, because for a very, I mean, it's very simple. And I will say it's very simple. We are not allowing ourselves to do things differently. We're not allowing ourselves to question the method and to give yourselves time. That's it. But of course, this will have to fall into all of the things that I talk about time management and how the reframing of the managing of time has to happen. Now, I'm going to share with you a simple priority rule that I apply on my own work, and I'm going to call it the rule of three. Every day, I choose one major priority, two important tasks. Everything else is a bonus. This is much more realistic than a list of 25 things. I know your next question. What is a priority and what is important? I've talked before here on the podcast, and you can find the episodes under the time management playlist on the podcast, where I talk about prioritizing. There is a simple method called the Eisenhower method, where you divide it. Imagine you have, and you can Google it, Eisenhower method, and you will see a template of a rectangle divided in four rectangles at the same time. And in one side, you have things that are important and urgent, things that are important, urgent but not important, things that are important but not urgent, and things that are neither one, important or urgent. If this helps to categorize the things that you have to do. But of course, you have to have a very clear goal of what is the outcome that you want. And you have to understand the result of the task that you have in front of you. So, if the task is going to actually bring you results to your business and it has a deadline, it is urgent and it is important. Now, if the task is something important to maintain the function of your business, but it doesn't have a deadline, maybe it's important, but not urgent, and so on and so forth. I recommend you to go and check on the episodes on prioritizing, and I can leave the links in the show notes for you to easy access them. Going back to the rule of three, remember one major priority, two important tasks. Once that is done, the rest of the day is mine. So if I feel like painting, if I feel like cooking, if I feel like creating a sugar paste topper for a magazine, if I feel like working on a cake collaboration, if I feel like recording another episode and I do have the time, perfect. If I feel like sitting down and reading a book, learning a new skill, um, updating my website, all of that, if I have time after completing my major priority task and my two important tasks, great. If not, I can move them around to the next day. Planning helps you organize your day. Now, prioritizing helps you change your future and the future of your business. There's a big difference between the two. I'm going to give you today a little challenge for this week. Tomorrow morning, don't write 20 things to do. Write just three. From your dumping list, take three things. One thing that must happen, two things that will move your business forward. And then at the end of the week, do that every single day until next Tuesday. Then tell me how you felt and how your day felt and how many tasks did you erase from your planner, because I'm sure that's going to happen. I want to ask you a question as well. What is your biggest challenge? Is it planning your day or deciding what deserves your attention first? If it is about planning your day, you know that your issue is in the strategy, and I can help you with that. But if your answer goes more into I don't know how to decide what deserves my attention first, then your problem is prioritizing. And I can also help you with that. You know, we have the Art of Creative Business community on school where we talk about all of these things. Actually, this week, the live was about prioritizing and is available for the members. I don't want to leave you without adding something else. Many creative things that productivity means doing more. I actually don't believe in that. I used to believe in that. Uh, and I realized that that came from a feeling of guilt because I thought everybody else was doing more than me, because I thought more of me was expected, even though I'm the only sole owner of my business and I work by myself. But I thought it was a thing. Guilt that I'm missing out, guilt that I'm not doing enough, guilt that I'm being lazy. All of that happens, all of that passed through my head so many times. And the moment that I said enough is enough was the moment that being so overwhelmed, so tired, so stressed took a toll on my physical health and mental health. And I said, okay, no, this has to change. And that is where the calm productivity came to be. Actually, this name of calm productivity is quite new. It came up while I was working on the building of the school community and working with my coach on rebranding, rephrasing everything for creatives. And as I kept talking about the way that I like to do things now, and honestly, I don't think this would have worked on me 10 years ago, because it also comes from a point of maturity, of reaching my 50 years old, or maybe I don't know even know if it has to do with the menopause, but it came to the point that, you know what, I'm entitled to do this. I'm entitled to rest. I'm entitled to say no. I'm entitled of being calm. And whatever I'm going to do, because I love working and I love to work on what I do. I believe so much on this message, on helping others, on helping other creatives find that tranquility. I believe so much in my method, but I do believe equally on protecting my mental and physical health. And that is where the term calm productivity came to be. So that weighed a lot more than the guilt. So the guilt, I started to look at the guilt as almost like a foreign object, like, what is that? Why did I lose so much time of my life feeling guilty? Why did I, overthought of everything over and over again? Why did I second guess everything that I did out of guilt? But of course, if I didn't have done that, if that didn't happen before, it wouldn't make me the person that I am today. So I do not feel guilty about feeling guilty. I don't. But I do want to save you a little bit of time, because that's my thing. I want to save you a little bit of time. So instead of waiting until you're 50 or until, you figure it out by yourself, let me help you. You don't need to be hooked on this feeling of guilt. To be productive doesn't mean that you need to do more. I don't believe in that. I think productivity means doing what matter most and having the confidence to leave the rest for tomorrow. And yes, it's about confidence, it's about control, it's about owning it. That's it. It's not about justifying procrastination. It's not about justifying being lazy, because it has nothing to do with it. If it comes from the feeling of, I own this, I can say no, I can rest, I can dedicate my time to this specific thing. And the beauty of it, the result from that specific thing is going to be 100 times better than when you're rushing it and doing a lot at the same time. And as you know, if you have listened to this podcast, I am the queen of doing a lot of things at the same time. But I'm doing it slower and calmer now, so I feel great. My sweet friends, this is it for today. My sweet and creative friends. I have to keep myself, on track with that one. My sweet and creative friends, this is it for today. I really want to leave you with the idea that planning and prioritizing are not the same thing. One depends on the other. But it's as easy as it is to fall into the trap of hustle and productivity, it is to get out of it. Put in practice the 3 questions that I share with you, and just tell me on socials if you listen to this episode. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think this is a rule that you can use this week? And if you use it, tell me how it went. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for being here. And I say goodbye as I always say goodbye. Stay safe and stay, above all, creative. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. If you've been feeling overwhelmed, unsure what to focus next, or like you're constantly busy but not really moving forward, the Art of Creative Business community is for you. Inside, you'll find all the help creative home business owners need to go from feeling scattered to actually having a clear plan, structure, and direction in their business. Remember, you don't have to figure it out your creative business alone. There is a lovely community waiting for you. It's where we talk about real things: mindset, time management, orders, burnout, but we're doing it while we're having fun. So if you're ready to go from an overwhelmed creative with no time to enjoy life to a creative business owner with a plan and a productive business that brings you joy and an income, come and join us. I'll leave you the links in the show notes.